Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Jazzpunk? Jazzpunk. It's a game about moving around and being confronted by strange, colorful things. It's difficult to explain. It's by a company called Necrophone, who are also difficult to explain. You know what else is difficult to explain? The fact that this is a PC game and doesn't have mouse control on the main menu. You know, I was thinking of starting off chill, but now I'm starting off irate, and it's all your fault, Necrophone. A little annoying. Set over the options menu, and what we're gonna see. Yeah, pretty much. Unity game. Can you tell? It's pretty easy to spot it. Oh, okay, there we go. It's pretty easy to spot a Unity game, folks. The reason it's easy to spot a Unity game is that these quality presets kind of come standard with Unity. You can change them, but a lot of people just don't bother. So, we know it's in Unity. That's fine. It's not like that's condemning it to anything. Unity games are fine these days. They're actually rather impressive. The Unity engine is extremely capable. Aside from that, you're completely lacking in any sort of options. To be fair, when you see the game, you might see why. Although, is there actually anything in particular that's missing here? It would be nice maybe to have, say, anti-aliasing options, perhaps, or anisotropic filtering. I'm screwing up my really long A words. You get the idea. Now, they could have put more in, yeah? Just having the presets, kind of not as much. And it would have been a comedy option as well, because what you're going to discover from this game is that it is very much a comedy experience. They could have thrown some comedy options in there, but it seems like they almost forgot it, which is a little odd. I'd also like to point out, by the way, that while the controls, as you can see, are set by default to a gamepad, which makes no sense because I don't have one plugged in. Not really sure what's going on with that. All the prompts in the game are also for gamepad. I have to assume this is a pretty quick and easy fix, but this is a PC game, and that should not be the case. Also, you can't rebind these keys, which, again, or at least, maybe you can, but right now it thinks the controller's a, well, controller. So, that's probably why. But that needs to be sorted out. All this stuff needs to be sorted out prior to its release, which is actually coming today, so that's very unlikely. Alright, let's get into it. Everything I do here is a spoiler, so I'm going to begin from the very start and not go any further than I absolutely need to in order to demonstrate my point. Simple as that, because really, this game bears a single playthrough, and for the most part, that's really about it. You might end up missing some cool references and jokes and maybe a couple of aside things, but it's most likely going to be a one-play kind of person, so let us begin. And you're gonna watch this intro, or at least bits of it, because, well, this is a stylized game to say the least. And I'd like to demonstrate just how much. There we go. It's quite silly. Bear that in mind. Also, do you like text superimposed on other things in an augmented reality style? Then boy, do we have the game for you. Also colors. And stuff that's reminiscent of Cowboy Bebop and or Archer. Well, that was pretty, wasn't it? Yes. Very stylish indeed. Very stylish. Alright, well, welcome to Jazzpunk. What is there to say about it? It's one of those games that's difficult to critique, and the reason is that mechanically, it's pretty bare bones. But I can tell you for a fact there's no DRS there, so that's a start. Yes, press A to sit down. This, again, is one of the problems I've got. A lovely piece of superimposed text. Look at it. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. That is. Except A does not do that. You hear that? Uh-huh. No, it's E. So I don't know what the hell they're doing with the controls. They definitely need to sort that out. But the world of Jazzpunk is a strange one to say the least, which seems to work around the gimmick of everything being an augmented reality. So all the stuff that pops above people's heads is actually supposed to be there in the first place. I can peruse the articles if I wish. And everything is themed in such a way that you're gonna see an awful lot of techno jargon going on with it. A lot of computer references and all sorts of crazy things.
Please,
let's move.
We've much business to discuss.
This is where the game tells you it's a comedy game. Are you laughing yet?
Basically, we need you to infiltrate the Soviet consulate. They've taken some of our important technology, and it's imperative that we get it back in the right hands. As per usual, here's your mission or subscription. Don't take too many. If you need me, I'll be in the wine cellar.
Mm-hmm. That's the wine cellar. Yeah, so the game is definitely doing it for laughs, there's no doubt about that. And I actually didn't find that chewing gum the last time, so there's a secret, I suppose. So, it's a very narratively focused game with some minor puzzle-solving elements, all done from a first-person perspective that is going to take you to some very strange places, let's just put it that way. As I said, the theme is augmented reality, but the game seems to be set in the 50s, so that does make it a little unusual, to say the least. And it's, interestingly enough, locked at 101 frames per second, which I can't help but think is deliberate, like the actual frame rate being a joke as well. Alright. Welcome to the world of Jazzpunk. So, the various levels in Jazzpunk are pretty open for the most part, and will require you to perform various tasks in order to bypass them. I'd say there are puzzles, but that's not really true. There aren't really puzzles per se. Not at all. There are little mini-games and things which are blindingly obvious. It's like a point-and-click game if there were only 3 items to point and click. So, it's not exactly what you should be looking towards if you're looking for a challenge. However, we can help the frog, who is looking to get free Wi-Fi from Starbucks. His password cracker is on the road. Play Frogger! For some reason. This is why not. Might as well play a little Frogger game, just for the sake of it. There are occasionally little mini-games that you will want to indulge in. There we go. And now what he's going to do is he's going to give me the password cracker, and then I'm going to have to rip information out of the air using this thing. And my tongue. It's a little strange to say the least. There we go. I fixed it. I'm a wonderful person. It doesn't do anything, as far as I'm aware. Nothing whatsoever. But it's cool to be able to do it nonetheless. And it seems like a world that's full of toys, for the most part. It's definitely a world that's trying to make you laugh, and it has a rather interesting sense of humor. It's a mix of the extremely dark, as demonstrated, and a little bit of kind of Purple Monkey Dishwasher random nonsense going on as well. By Purple Monkey Dishwasher random nonsense, there is something over here that I can aptly demonstrate what I mean with. Also, I could eat this, because why not? Be insulted by a newspaper dispenser.
Go away.
Kick him all over the place, because why the hell not? Again, you know, it's a world full of toys, as you can clearly see. It rather loves its toys and physics. I will deal with him in a moment. That's a side quest, technically, I believe, but the game doesn't really differentiate between the two. It's just optional stuff for you to do that will give you more dialogue and more funny themes and things like that. It's weird to have a game like this because it's a game that it barely has a challenge to it, right? You remember my video when I was talking about failure states and actually challenging the audience? Well, this game does challenge you. There's no real doubt about that. It just doesn't challenge you very much. But it is still an actual video game. So, as I was saying earlier regarding the whole random purple monkey dishwasher thing, this is a random first-person perspective pizza zombie game that is built into the game for no apparent reason whatsoever and takes about 2 minutes to finish, but it is there. Everything is made of pizza, and you will be attacked, as you can very clearly see. The game has a kind of rudimentary combat system that you will occasionally have to use based on the items that you have. But it's almost like the combat is a minor puzzle in and of itself. Not that the puzzling takes too much effort. So, if the puzzling doesn't take too much effort, and there's not that much gameplay involved in it, although there is at least a basic amount of it, what is the point of playing the game exactly? Well, the point of playing the game is to immerse yourself in a very, very strange world indeed, and enjoy the innumerable references and absolute nonsense dialogue and jokes, as well as very, very strange environments and scenarios indeed, over the course of about 2.5 to 3 hours. Yeah? And that's what this game is. Apparently it is. So the question is that what you're looking for? Because if you're looking for a game that provides challenge, then you should be going away immediately. This is not a game that does that, at all. But it does provide a very interesting world and a lot of laughs. And it's a very narrative, I wouldn't even call it a narratively focused game, because there's not actually that much narrative. It's more a case of experiencing the world. You know what, I can kind of appreciate that, because it doesn't shove dialogue down your throat all the time. It just allows you to explore the world and find a bunch of very strange things indeed. Where did the pigeon go? Ah, I lost the pigeon. Nope, it's up there. We are degaussing pigeons, because why the hell not? I think it's degaussing in the UK, if I recall correctly, or maybe I just got that wrong. The game is chock full of pretty damn funny humor, I'll give them that, although the humor style is distinctly odd. I think if you don't recognize old school tech references, then you might not really get a huge amount out of it. I mean, I'm talking about a game that has an ICQ reference built into the second level here. I'm not actually sure what to do with that guy. It's not required to advance in the game, but I guess there's a secret, some kind of reference that I missed. But let's find some more pigeons, you know, for the hell of it. And that's kind of really all you can say about the title. That's the thing, because it has so few mechanics, there's not much for me to really critique, so I've got to kind of look at the world and look at the humor, but those things are really, really subjective. I absolutely love the style of the whole thing. The music is fantastic. It's just random pieces of jazz and nice little punctuation with really cool sound effects, as well as the occasional leitmotif that just sounds great. And it does seem like there's actually quite a lot to discover if you want to go looking for it. It might not be story critical, but it might give you jokes. It's like, here is some jokes. You want a joke? We got one of those. Here's a joke. And then, of course, there's the occasionally sort of frustrating little mini-game like degaussing pigeons and so on and so forth. Alright, let's go back to the informant and see what actually happens as a result of me degaussing all of those pigeons. Did I need to do that? Not really. This is actually a side quest, and there are plenty of those. But... alright. I could have probably used that to attract pigeons. That might have worked better. Spray everyone with pigeon... oh god, why did I do such a thing? Oh, that was inadvisable to say the least.
Thanks for collecting the pigeons. This is my Mima's secret pigeon pot pie recipe. Please wait while they bake. Just like Mima used to make. I have 4th-degree burns all over my entire face. Ah, it burns.
Yeah. As I said, a little bit of dark humor every once in a while. Jeez. It's very aware of what it is. It breaks the fourth wall frequently. Its sense of humor ranges from the dark, the sardonic, the cynical, to the outright ridiculous and random. It certainly wears its influences on its sleeve, and it's a very unique experience. If I were to compare it to anything on PC, I'd probably compare it to something like, say, 30 Flights of Lovin'. That's a decent comparison, I feel. Even visually, actually, with the whole idea of sort of a simplified graphical style, but very stylized. Alright. Can we set it to vodka and biscuits? I would love to do that. What does that actually do? Probably nothing. In order to get into this building, it's your standard little trick. There we go. I think you can see what's going on there. The problem I think most people are going to have with it, I love the fact they did that. Every time they do a finger, by the way, they end up dropping the thing on a stick. Anyway, as I was saying, the real problem people are going to have with it, aside from the lack of challenge, is the lack of length, yeah? Because they're asking $15 for a game that's about 2.5 to 3 hours long at most, and doesn't really bear a huge amount of replayability, unless you deliberately go back through looking for every single reference imaginable. And to be fair, if you're fairly careful, you can find all of them the first time you go through anyway. So, that's the value proposition. 2 to 3 hours of very unique, funny, crazy stuff in return for 15 of your Earth dollars. Is that okay with you? That's the question. Is it okay with you? If it's not, well, don't buy the game. Simple as that. Wait for it on sale. That's something I think that you could very easily do with a game like this, and I think it's entirely justifiable. Honestly, you should not be forcing yourself to buy a title like this if you are not okay with paying $15 for 3 hours of non-challenging but very amusing gameplay. And that's what Jazzpunk is. It's really as simple as that. There's nothing more to say about it, really. Only that it made me laugh. I love the aesthetic. I appreciate the strange world that they've built, and I think that it's more hit than miss for the most part, and I enjoyed my experience playing through this. But then, I've said that before, haven't I? I've said, you know what, I'm happy playing a game for 2 to 3 hours, reaching the end of the game, leaving satisfied and saying, you know what, okay, cool. I played a video game for that long, and I have no desire to go back to it. And that's it. And that's it. You know what the sad thing is? I can't even remember how to use one of these rotary telephones. How sad. Oh, man. Alright, folks, there you go. Jazzpunk, currently available on Steam. $15 or your regional equivalent would be the price for this one. Do keep an eye out, of course, on sites like Green Man Gaming. If it ends up on there, then it's entirely possible that there'll be a 25% off code or something along those lines. So, you can give that a try. It's good for what it is. It's very good for what it is. But what it is will not be the kind of thing that some people are willing to pay $15 for. My name's TotalBiscuit. Take a look at Jazzpunk. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.